All right, so my name is Paul Cardis, and I am the founder of Avid Ratings. And today we're going to talk about the secrets to engaging and delighting today's millennial buyer, right? Millennials are not zoo animals. Let's just start the morning off that way, right? They are human beings, and they're not all alike. But what I want to share with you today is some of the knowledge that we've learned about the youth, right? It seems like every generation always has their little thing. It's a little different. My generation had its thing. The generation before mine had its thing. And so we're all trying to wrap our heads around what is this generation's thing, right? What makes them tick, generally speaking? And more importantly, how do we, as business owners, essentially engage, right? Because we're seeing companies essentially get dumped, right? There's massive transitions that are happening. Right? There's an article that actually just came out this week on the beer industry, right? Beer industry is going through massive disruption right now, right? You guys aware of what's happening, right? Old Style or whatever, Budweiser, Miller, all these companies right now are scrambling to sell beer. Now we are in Texas right now, and I'm saying we're struggling to sell beer. Do you believe that? Right? But it's true. The craft breweries, the change in what the young people want in a beer is upending these multi-billion-dollar behemoths, right? And so when we talk about change is kind of like the frog in the pot, right? You don't see it happening, but it's happening. Very slowly, but it's very real. And pretty soon, all of a sudden, you're going to hit that boiling point and you're dead, right? So we're watching the beer industry go into panic right now, trying to figure out, they're buying up a lot of these craft breweries right now. They're doing everything they can to figure out how they're going to move these cans of beer and keep their beverage business going. As millennials basically say, no thanks, I don't want a Budweiser. We're going to talk about that because that's relevant to housing. You know, we've been enjoying housing for a long time. It's been a good market. We've had some bad times. My father was a home builder for many, many years, so I watched him. I have clients who are now going to become, some of them already beyond centennial home builders, meaning they've been around for over 100 years. They're in their fourth and fifth generation of family members running their business, right? So we have an incredible legacy in this industry that doesn't like to change, doesn't like change very much. And but unfortunately, we're reaching a point where change will be thrusted upon us. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So let's talk demographics for a minute. I know it is 11 o'clock in the morning, and these may not be exciting graphs, but there is a real exciting story here, and that is, folks, this is an amazing graph, and that trend line is going up. There are more people in this world. That is the bottom line. We are now seeing the millennials and the post-millennials, which are now being called the Z generation, are far larger than the generations right now out there in the market. In fact, to put it another way, this is from Zillow, the majority of the home building market right now is 42% millennial buyers. This is the customer, right? So if you want to say where is the bulk of the customer stay, they are here, the millennial age, the young folks now, and they're in that age group, right? They're in their mid-20s now, the mid-30s. They can afford to build a home, a lot of them. And they're our primary market. Gen Xers, my generation, still in it. Baby boomers, of course, in the silent gen. What's really interesting is that this is the first time in history that we have sort of a two-headed dragon, where we have two generations back to back that are of equal size to the baby boomers. That's the magic of this slide here. That's never happened in all of our lifetimes, that we have two generations back to back the same size baby boomers. And we all remember, us older folks remember the impact of the baby boomer, right? The baby boomer thing, I mean, they drove the whole market, right? Baby boomers changed the world. They changed elections. They changed everything, right? Right now, we got a generation that is double that. And by the way, this group is combined four times the size of my generation. Let's put that in perspective. There's about 40 million of my generation in the U.S. today. So we got 150 to 160 million of those two right there in that generation right there. Isn't that just incredible? That number rate is actually, there's some debates of 66 and 69. Anyway, we'll just chalk it up, say 150, call it even, right? Bottom line is that is a big group of people. There's different statisticians with different numbers, so we'll work on it. But the bottom line is that with the population being so big on both of these groups, they're driving the market. So we need to understand what they want. What we've learned, first off, is that customer satisfaction is not enough. You can build a great house, and if you have a problem and you service it, that is great. And guess what? You get the customer from hell. It doesn't quite all add up. You might be saying, well, how is that, right? Because that's the way it's always been. I remember my father, you build a house and you fix it up. And then transaction, we all move on, right? Build them up, fix them up, build them up, fix them up. Repeat them, 40,000 times, and you're now the size of D.R. Horton, right? That's what we've been doing for this market for a long, long time. That's what customer satisfaction is all about. I'm sorry to say that this model is already dated. It won't work anymore. And building a house and fixing it up is no longer good enough. Now, let me explain why. We've transitioned now to the experience economy. We are now battling against companies that you know, Amazon, Starbucks, Uber, Tesla, all these companies out here. They are redefining what it means to be in business today. And they are creating companies that go way beyond their product, right? So let's take a step back here real quick. Service industry. Walmart, right? Good old Sam Walton. It's a question, it's a quiz. So what was the number one thing that Sam Walton did that totally defined Walmart and disrupted the industry back in, we'll call it the 70s and 80s, 90s? Anyone want to take a guess? What was it? Huh? Inventory, yeah. Created a big box, huge amount of inventory. That's true, but Kmart did that too. Yeah. Low prices, everybody says low prices, that's what they're known for. They really push that. True, but like I said, Kmart had low prices too. I think they were lower.
They're advertising?
They're advertising, sure. A lot of companies advertised. What's that? The markets they went after, I think that's very interesting, yes. I'll give you the answer. You could buy a product and you could return it with no questions asked. I want you to think about that. So for us folks that are a little bit older, we remember when you bought something. I bought this jacket and I go back to the store and I'd say, yeah, I'd like to return this jacket. Like, well, did you wear the jacket, sir? No, you did not wear it. Okay, all right. Let me take a look at it. Okay, go ahead and fill out this form. And by the way, could you give me your driver's license, please? And you might be thinking that's ridiculous, right? You're giving me a smile, like I must be from planet Mars or something, right? She doesn't believe me. We also had rotary phones at one time too. I don't know if you know that, but anyway, really, it happened. But the bottom line is that that was real. You had to show your driver's license to return a product at the store. Now, how many of you today have to show your driver's license to return a product at the store? It's ludicrous, right? It's table stakes to be able to. Amazon is doing it every millisecond of the day. Products are being returned, no questions asked. But during that period, Sam Walton turned to his company, his board, and his accountants and lawyers all puffed her up and said, "You can't do that, Sam. We're going to go broke. Nobody does that." He said, "I don't care. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take the risk out of it because we're going to define services. We're going to define the easiest. And if you have a problem, we'll take it back. No questions asked. We'll service you." That's what made Sam Walton a multi-billionaire. That's what changed it. That's what service economy was about. Today, it's crazy, right? We've moved way beyond that. So what's Tesla doing? What's Starbucks doing? What's Apple doing? What's Amazon doing? In 2007, the world changed. We had the economic blow-up. We all know about that. 2007, 2008. And it was in that crucible of economic pain that companies like YouTube were formed, right? The new first iPhone was launched. We can go on and on and on. Historians now look back at that year. That was the year the world changed. We went from a service economy where when you had a problem, people took care of it and then it was done, to now the more. Another way to call it is the more economy, right? What's Starbucks today? Did they invent coffee? They didn't invent coffee. Coffee's been around for a couple hundred years, I think. But they redefined the coffee experience, right? They created a destination so good, people want to live near these things, right? Can you say that about your business? I can't. Nobody wants to live near Avid Ratings, I can tell you that. But they want to live near Starbucks. Okay, that's more than coffee, folks, because coffee's been in coffee shops for as long as I've been born. They created a place that had internet. It was a cafe that was comfortable, had good food, health food. was a destination that was comfortable and cozy. They went beyond a cup of coffee. And by the way, they charge a lot too, don't they? It's not your average cup of coffee, but it's a damn good one. Created a complete experience. What about, for example, Apple, right? What about that? All these companies are embracing a concept that I want to share with you, and that is authenticity. When you look at Starbucks, they are a very authentic company. They've made a lot of mistakes lately, and how they've handled them has been a model really for a lot of other companies. And we're going to talk about that. But authenticity is king if we look to engage the buyer today. We're going to get into more of those examples. But the reason that companies like Starbucks and Apple and all of them are excelling is because of this chart right here by a very smart man, Joseph Pine. Joseph Pine wrote the book, What Consumers Want. And in his book, he basically defined that authenticity now is more important than quality, more important than cost, and more important to availability for today's buyers, including the millennials and all the rest of the generations. Now I want you to think about that for a minute. How many of you have to wait for a cup of coffee at Starbucks? Does anybody have to wait for a cup of coffee at Starbucks? I do. I see it all the time. We're going to go to the airport later today, and there's going to be a line in that Starbucks. I guarantee it'll be somewhere between 5 and 20 people deep, right? At the Starbucks at my office. If I'm going there between 8 and 9:30, there's going to be a line wrapped around the building to go to Starbucks in the morning. I don't even go because of that, usually. Last time I heard, wait time was a bad thing, right? We don't like to wait at the grocery store. We don't like to wait at the doctor's office. Oh, but hey, for a cup of coffee at Starbucks, hey, I'll wait. No problem. We line right up. Why is that? How can they do it and we can't, right? We tell our customers we're going to have to wait another week for our windows to get it, and they want to shoot us, right? But if you're Starbucks, bang, you get the pass. See, that question really perplexed us. That's what we've been studying, is how come they get to violate this and they get to be this great experience company and we don't? And it comes down to this right here. They have authenticity, and authenticity trumps availability. So because they're authentic, because the market believes in them, you'll wait. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. How about Apple? Let's talk about Apple for a second, right? iPhone 10, right? We all just watched it happen right before our eyes. $1,000 for a phone. How many of you were reading those articles and hearing the news talk about nobody's going to pay for $1,000 for a phone, right? It was the death of Apple. The shorts were out all over Apple. This was going to be the end, you know? And lo and behold, I guarantee how many have an iPhone 10 in their pocket right now? Okay. Well, not the overwhelming bunch of the room, but they're selling more of the iPhone 10s now. They're doing great. Sales are awesome. They're now a $1 trillion value company. They win, right? So I'm going to go back to this slide. Authenticity, we believe in Apple, right? Apple has the trust in the marketplace. Cost, no problem, I'll spend the money. And I can tell you I spend way too much money on those Apple products, right? Got the home computer, the wife's got the phone, right? Well, we got the iPad, we got to have those, right? We can just go on and on and on. I got thousands and thousands of dollars wrapped up in the Apple company, and that's why they're worth $1 trillion for the first time. Talked about Starbucks, right? You pay a lot for your cup of coffee, right? It's not your average cup of coffee, but because you believe wherever you go around the world, I always know when I see that symbol, right? It's going to be a good cup of coffee, and therefore I'm willing to wait because they're authentic and they deliver. Amazon. How many of you return a product at Amazon, right? Everybody returns a product at Amazon. Again, authenticity. I keep doing it and doing it. I remember I've had some rough experiences. It's a pain in the butt to have to box the thing back up, take it to the UPS store, ship it back. What a pain, right? But yet I do it. And I keep it coming back and doing it again. And we got the boxes of stuff. And then I have to figure out what am I going to do with all these boxes, right? You got that problem? Anybody got that problem? What do we do with all the boxes? But yet we just keep ordering, right? Now we're ordering our laundry soap and our toilet paper and, you know, all that silly stuff that we used to buy at the store and bring home. Oh no, it just comes in a box. It's all good. And if I don't like it, I'll box it up, send it back. Even though it's a pain, I keep coming back to Amazon. Even though quality at times can be substandard, I've bought products that, frankly, were not good. They're never sent them back. but I trust Amazon. They are authentic. I can read their reviews. I trust the process, so I'm willing to deal with the pain. And I think that's the point I'm trying to make. Is customers don't want perfection, folks, right? They're willing to deal with pain. They're willing to work with us. But you've got to dial in. If you want to engage a millennial, you've got to understand what unlocks the door. And authenticity is the key. And now, my favorite, Tesla. Oh boy, right? Good old Elon. Man, oh man, every day something new with Elon. Between Elon and Trump, right? It's just like it's Twitter war, you know? But the bottom line is that Elon is in trouble. Tesla's in trouble. And I'm a big Tesla fan. I don't own one, but I'm rooting for him. And I know I'm saying that in the oil country here, so don't shoot me. But I really think they're trying to do some great stuff, and that's great. But they have absolutely, their authenticity score is going down by the day, right? They promise people, we have the Model 3 out. Model 3's not out. I mean, it's out, but most people can't get one. People are with deposits. They're now requesting their deposits back, right? There's all this controversy around whether the leadership is correct. They're losing their authenticity, and with that, the amount of people now that want their money back is starting to soar. Tesla's in deep trouble because if you want to make people wait, which they had authenticity, right? People were willing to wait. Put a deposit down. How many people are going to put a deposit down on a car and wait for a year or two to get that car? That's crazy talk, right? You would never do that at Ford. You would never do that at GM, right? In Tesla, no problem, right? People did it. Hundreds of thousands of people did it, right? Quality. I know people that own Teslas. They got problems like crazy, but you know what? They're real tolerant. I mean, these guys are so tolerant of the Tesla. I'm thinking, man, if I had that car, if it was Ford that had the same problems as this Tesla, people would be screaming. But oh no, they're quiet. I love my Tesla. I don't care. They do some cool things in service and sent the guys out. Service it in the driveway, so that helped. But they had some real quality issues, and they still do. But people tolerate Tesla. But as Tesla's authenticity score goes down, they're going to lose the millennials. You watch. So they need to turn this around quick, or Tesla is going to fail. That's my prediction. They want transparency, folks. This is the key to engaging your millennials. And for a home builder, we're going to talk about how important this is. Because let's face it, folks, we are not the most trusted industry in the world. Right? If we do a survey on the street right now and say, what do you think of a home builder today? What do you think they'll say? You trust us? Not so much. We're down here. We're down here, folks. We're in the bottom quartile of trust in the world. And that's a PR problem for NHB and the Texas home builders, and for us as home builders as well. So the key to engaging our millennials to want to build a new house today is the more transparent we can be, the more we're going to attract the millennials. And we're going to talk about that. Because they are examining everything, right? They don't even buy a box of macaroni without understanding everything that goes into the box, right? Is it gluten-free, right? Was it organic, right? Is it this, is it that, right? All that stuff, what's it made of, right? People are doing this all the time. And they want to know what's in their house. They want to know, how is my builder done? What are their ratings and reviews? And if you can't provide them that, if you're the opaque company, that's just pretty pictures of kids playing in the grass in a beautiful community and a pretty house, you're done. The millennials aren't actually attracted that much to that anymore. What they want is they want transparency. They want the pretty pictures, don't get me wrong. But if that's all you do, you're in trouble. Right? Even buying a shirt, for example, right? This is a great slide that Jess, our director here at Communications and Marketing, she brought up, you know, right? I want to know how it was made. Single needle, pattern patching, signature stitching, all this stuff. Unbreakable buttons, you know. I mean, even a silly shirt from Brooks Brothers, they are basically breaking it down to all the little details of how the shirt's made. It's not just, hey, that's a cool looking shirt, let's wear it, let's go, right? They want to know everything about it. So we're in this world today of ultimate transparency. And as a home builder today, what are you doing to create this level of transparency? Not only who you are, but what you offer. That's another big problem in our business today, right? Everything is pretty pictures. You know, we show a pretty model, and it's supposed to sell itself. But now the millennials are asking, what's that sink? What kind of counter is that? What's the warranty on that counter? Will it stain? Do I need to seal it? How about the refrigerator? Right? You're shaking your head. You know what I'm talking about. You're hearing those questions. So today's millennials not buying a home the same way, right? They want to understand it. So transparency is key. Research indicates that 94% of consumers are likely to be loyal to a brand that offers complete transparency, and we are not immune. If you don't want to be like the beer industry and get totally upended, you got to learn these things. You've got to start going with it. And it's hard because we're not an industry that's used to doing that. We're an industry that is very closed, that basically wants to show the beautiful vision, inspiration, and keep everything all nice and neat, perfect, and hopefully sell houses. It's going to be hard. Zillow did a great study here, and our friends at Zillow surveyed 140 million users on their Zillow platform. It's the largest study of its time. And what they found was that the number one thing, they asked them if you were looking for a new home, to build a home, so this is specific to home builders, 45%, number one, tied to Save the Planet, want builder ratings and reviews. How many in the room today are pushing out their ratings and reviews out there for the world to consume? Good. Couple. One or two, three. So this is really key to what the buyers want. They also want energy efficiency. This is a big deal too, which I thought was really interesting, right? You talk about what Tesla's doing. You know, who's going to be the Tesla in our space, right? Meredith Jones is certainly there. KB's doing it. But nobody's really reached that pinnacle like Tesla. But yet the buyers are saying, we want to save the planet. I want to buy a home that's contributing to that. And tied for, well, third now, with the two tied for first, would be options for customizing the home, right? Again, having that clarity, being able to say, hey, I want to be able to put the specific granite that I want. I want this appliance. I want to put this kind of toilet. Those options are going to matter. So this is really important research because I think this lays the blueprint for engaging in millennial. But one of the things that we also have to discuss is the digital environment, right? The see, I like to call it see, click, go, right? If they can't go online right now on their cell phone and find you and learn everything they need to learn right now, you're out of the market. You're out. If they can't see, click, go on your company, and that means be able to see your product, be able to get transparency on reviews, products that you put in, and be able to do something. That's the go part, right? It's not just look at pretty pictures and say, oh cool, I'm going to go get in my car and drive to your community. They ain't doing that anymore. They need to be able to request, they need to be able to customize, they need to be able to configure, they need to be able to do a bunch of things right now. And another interesting study is that they're making their home buying decision within 4 to 5 hours. They're making a decision about who they're going to go visit. Yeah. I mean, think about it, right? Hey, let's maybe look at some of the builders, honey. Okay. And they spend, accumulated, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, maybe another hour at night when the kids go down. And they're clicking around on their cell phone and looking at it in total about 5 hours. They've whittled down to a series of potential builders that they're interested in. And those who have made it easy, boom. Those who created this, don't buy from us. We don't want your money over here, right? We want to hold on to our homes. You're out. And so this see, click, go thing is really, really important. And what they're looking for on the digital side goes beyond just marketing. What are you doing inside the house? We see a lot of exciting builders today that are creating the see, click, go inside the house, right? It's not just about your marketing. It's like the house itself, right? Like, I want to be, this is not me, but if I'm a millennial, I want to be shaving in the morning and I want to reschedule my 10 o'clock meeting and start my Tesla while I'm shaving. Does that sound crazy talk? Does that sound like the Jetsons? Yeah. It's here. It's already here. Yeah, Kohler Connect has now the Alexa-enabled mirror, and literally while you're shaving, you could start all kinds of crazy, you could start your Tesla, reschedule your 10 o'clock meeting, and with your coffee makers on smart device, you could probably kick on the coffee maker while you're shaving. Pretty cool, huh? Millennial is very excited by that. They want to live differently than you and me. I'm different. I'm still old school. I don't want a mirror that can talk to me. I just want a mirror. And I'll take an old mirror. But for the young kids, they want that digital stuff. They want to change their lives through technology, and they want to simplify their lives through technology. Connected thermostats, Nest, you know about that. Keyless locks. I mean, this is table stakes right now in the home tech space. Interconnected doorbells, right? Be able to see who's at the door. Just pick up my cell phone. Oh, okay, Amazon just dropped off a package. Cool. Right? That's their life right there. Totally see, click, go. Just like this guy over here. He's see, click, going right now. No, I'm just kidding. Mobile controlled security, voice activated systems. This is stuff that really isn't that hard for you to put in, right? How many are doing this stuff right now, right? Yeah, right, a lot of you are doing it, you all know about it. But now you understand more about how important this might be in engaging your millennial because of See-Click-Go. Millennials are willing to pay an average of 20% more a month to secure a home with smart technology. Excuse me. That's a big number. So I know this stuff ain't cheap, right? You got to spend money to spec this in the house or you offer it as an option. I think it's there. Some markets are better than others, but I think if you're attracting that younger millennial, that's good. Yes? Yeah, 20% more than the average sales price. So they're willing to spend more, per month. They're willing to add on a 20% more of a payment. They'll buy a house, supposedly, on this research. Again, it's not my research, it was Wakefield's research. But they say they'll pay two houses, one has it, and if it costs 20% more, they'll spend that to get the technology, if it's the right technology, if it's done right? So, you don't agree? How many Model 3s are being sold right now, right? I mean, they can't get them off the line fast enough. Yeah, it totally depends on the market. And same thing like with the iPhone 10. Again, if they believe in the product, yeah, they'll spend the money. I mean, the evidence is there. The iPhones, the Starbucks, the Teslas, those aren't the cheap products. It isn't about price on them. They are all going to the bank, with higher cost items, and the millennials are buying it. But we don't have it dialed in. I agree. The smart home thing is definitely dangerous territory because there's so much out there making it work, maintaining it. Is the builder going to become tech support now? I mean, it's not easy. So I'm not saying jump in with both feet, but this is what they want. It is what they want. Somehow we have to figure it out. And we will figure it out over time, because if we don't, our competitor will, and we'll be hurting, and they're going to be actually charging more for homes and selling them. How painful would that be to be competing with a builder who's 20% more cost and outselling us on our homes? That would burn. I don't want you to be that builder, right? You can make more money and charge more, I think, if done right. All right, next one. 80 million smart home devices were delivered globally in 2016, 64% increase from the prior year. Again, we're data guys. When you see hockey stick stuff like this, it usually says that there's a trend, right? This isn't going away, this is coming around. And what I've learned from the manufacturers, Whirlpool just bought a real cool recipe company. So you're going to literally be able to talk to your fridge. Your fridge has actually got a camera in it, scans what food you have, and then tells you what recipes you can cook right now based on what's inside the refrigerator. Now, isn't that cool? That's cool. I love it. Like, oh, honey, let's have paella. The fridge says we can make it, Cool. All right, I don't know how to make paella, but hey, what the hell? The computer told me so. But but they literally have that right now. It's super cool, right? Camera in the fridge. And oh, by the way, if you run low on stuff, it pulses you. It says you're getting low on milk. Better go to the store, right? Or better yet, it's going to call Amazon for you, and they'll be dropping it off within the hour. Woo! Talk about changing your life. My wife, I'm not even going to let her know about that, right? That'll mean a new fridge. All right. So anyway, just look, with all new stuff, there's the cutting edge and there's the bleeding edge. Stay off the bleeding edge. Let the others lead, but be right there, right? Pioneers have the arrows in the back, but you better be right behind them, right? And you want to be late to the party. So it is a timing thing, and I'm with you. Again, my dad was a home builder, I get it. There's a lot of stuff is risky, and there is a lot going on, right? Energy, smartphone, you can just go nuts. But hopefully the keys that you're understanding are authenticity, good experience, and most importantly, See-Click-Go, because they want technology in their life. And lastly, unleash those digital equalizers. This is a big deal. And the star ratings and reviews, we've talked about that. All the big companies I mentioned to you already are doing it, right? So if you aren't doing it, you're really out of the game. It's about your ratings, but it's also about the stories, really, right? When we read reviews, how many of you are just reading the star rating? Oh, they're 4.7, let's go. No, you're looking, you're reading, right? We're all reading, want to see what they said. I just had a great experience this weekend. I took my kids, we were up in the UP, Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I'm from Wisconsin, so we went up north, and we were looking for a waterfall. My 6-year-old said, oh, we gotta go see a waterfall, I wanna go see a waterfall. She'd never seen a waterfall before. So it was getting to the last day of the trip, and she's like in bed saying, we never saw the waterfall. Melted my heart. So I'm online, where's the nearest waterfall, we're gonna go. So found the waterfall, Gabbro Falls up in UP. And Google says it was rated well. It's about a 4.7, actually, ironically enough, in the star ratings, right? The Google review. Of course, I'm reading the comments. I don't know, we got a 5-mile hike with a 6-year-old, or what is this, right? So I'm reading the comments, and people are saying, yeah, you know, easy hike, no big deal, beautiful, da-da-da. I'm thinking, okay, let's go. Right on, right? So you read those comments. And by the way, we went and we did get lost, and no, it wasn't simple, but we ended up figuring it out. But anyway, we had a great time. I'll show you pictures later. But anyway, the bottom line is it was those stories that really convinced me that I'm going to go to that waterfall and not one of the others that was nearby. All right. So here's a comment from builders, right? Because builders, you know, that's what you guys are doing. We survey and we collect this data. Here's actual customer comment. We did have 2 problems after we moved in. No hot water. I guess the electrician tested the power before hot water heater was full, and the elements were burned up. It took a week before anyone came to fix it. Yikes. Right? Oh yeah, it gets worse. The garage door popped off the track, and that took a week before it was fixed. Otherwise, we are very pleased with the home itself and the experience in buying it. Mr. Hall was very pleasant and helpful, and so was his assistant. This is a real survey. So, I'm going to do a survey of you now, right? Based on that nightmare experience, right? That would not be, in my opinion, a great home buying experience. Where do you think this customer rated the builder? 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star. Right? Raise up your fingers, give me a number. What do you think? I see 3, I see 4 stars. Wow, 5. Is that a 5-star? You're going for it, huh? 4 stars, a lot of 4s, right? 3s. Yeah, this was nearly a perfect survey, almost a 5. It was like up there, high 4s, 4.8 or so star rating. The point being is that even though things went wrong, because the customer trusted the builder, because the builder maintained a great, authentic relationship, they believed in Mr. Hall, who's a sales rep. I know Mr. Hall. Again, they are a client of ours. We studied this survey because he thought he was definitely going to bomb. I mean, they were prepared for the worst. And they were so delighted that the customer actually was like Starbucks, and like a duck on water, the water rolled off the back, right? Now, what if we could all be like that? But you know what the elements were? Mr. Hall is an awesome sales guy. He genuinely connects with each one of his home buyers. He cultivates that authenticity. Really, I mean, people love him. And in the end of the day, our trades totally let us down, right? But they worked their way through it, and we got a good rating. Now, that doesn't always happen, but it's the same thing that's happening at Starbucks, the same thing that's happening at Amazon, and all these other companies every single day. So it works, folks. Be authentic, earn that trust, and you too don't have to be perfect, because certainty is more important than perfection. This is the ultimate thing that I hope you take away from ratings and reviews. You don't have to be a perfect home builder, but if you're a builder that can maintain confidence and certainty with its buyers, then you will absolutely be in the game for getting high reviews and high ratings, because that's what's most important. In fact, it's so important we wrote a book on it. So we have a few copies, actually a couple, if you're interested, but it's called Service Certainty, which to help you develop that sense of confidence and certainty in home building and get off the perfection wagon, right? I like to say I invite Toyota to build me my Camry in my driveway. Then we can compare notes to housing, right? Think about it, right? Toyota's going to mail a bunch of parts, right? You're going to get the windshield, you're going to get the door. Oh, by the way, you'll get the motor, right? You're going to get all the wiring and the lights. And you're going to have the various trades come out. So you're going to have the welder come out. He's going to have to spot weld some things. And the glass guy is going to have to put the glass in. The electrician is going to have to hook up all the electronics, right? And oh, by the way, the customer is going to get a lawn chair and crack the beer and watch you do it. That's home building. That's what we do. Very difficult thing that we do. And so perfection is actually a lie, right? I remember when the old days, you know, my father and other builders, zero defects, we're going to deliver a perfect home. And then I remember real smart superintendent said to me, you show me a house that's done, and I'll undo it for you. And he was right. He could undo a house like that. Why? Because there's always something that can go wrong, and it can be fixed. This touch-up, that thing, here, that, bang, bang. The house like a Grand Canyon. You don't see it all at first pass. But repeatedly you start to perceive all these final things. But the point is, there is a point of done, right? And then there's a point of done. But, it's this moving target, right? Well, so if we keep focusing on perfection, it's actually been a vicious cycle of failure. So we've stopped the cycle of failure. We said, look, we want to be perfect. We're going to get close to it as we can. But in the end of the day, we're going to start focusing on confidence. We're going to start focusing on messages that build that customer up and prepare them for the realities that things aren't going to be perfect. We want you to know that. You're going to be doing the home building journey with us, and you're going to find things along the way that need to be corrected. That's a normal part of the process. We need your participation to help us in that. But if you're expecting this to be like your last car purchase, that's not what we do here at ABC Homes. That message needs to be told. You need to be very direct with your customer. We call that inoculation, right? You need to inoculate that buyer's mind to get their mind right. And if you don't get their mind right, shame on you, right? Because you can't change whole housing. Whether you're building a shed in your backyard or $1 billion sports stadium, all of them have punch list items. All of them have delays. All of them have items that need to be corrected. That's just construction, folks. If you were at the Toyota plant and you watched your car get built, I guarantee you there are times when the robot goes, whoop, oh, here's the wrong weld, and the machine gets stopped and they got to go fix the weld and take the car off the line. That happens. We just don't see it. But in home building, you get to see it all. So we got to change your mindset and get on to certainty. That's the key to making it work. All right, so that concludes my presentation for today. I think we have a little bit of time for question and answer. Hopefully this has helped you a little bit here today. But why don't we open it up for some Q&A. I'll repeat the question since there's a little bit of noise here in the hall. Questions? Yeah. So the question was, what happens when you get the bad review? Right, and that happens, absolutely. So, and then the last part of it was you suggested that we just get more good ones. No, good? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Well, let me answer the bad review thing, because actually there's been a lot of change in that area. So prior to 2016, there pretty much were no laws regarding customer reviews. In December of 2016, the government, the national government, U.S. government passed the Consumer Review Fairness Act, which was signed by Obama, and it was a Republican-sponsored bill that nobody knows about. It was one of the last bills that he signed. It's still in place today and likely will maintain. It makes it federally illegal to suppress the negative review. So you can't suppress your negative reviews. In the old days, you could literally, try to just turn the negative review off. All kinds of shenanigans were being played around the review business. So that's now set a new standard. The FTC has also put out guidelines on reviews. So we have to be very open and transparent with good and bad. That's the law. We can't sugarcoat it. And that's a good thing. We supported that. So the key to dealing with negative reviews is to answer that review if you have the ability. Some sites are giving you the ability to respond and show that you care. Admit that you're wrong, right? There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, we screwed up. We're very sad about this situation. Please give us a call so we can make it right. A millennial will see that. And again, they're not expecting perfection, but they will love the fact that you were honest, contrite, and authentic about it. And they're going to go, bang, that's the company I want to deal with. It's amazing how many customers will be attracted to a company who just says, yeah, we made a mistake. And boom, we're there, right? Facebook did that, right? Donald Trump did that. I mean, it's a PR strategy that is sometimes misused, but you got to just go with it and take your lumps and move on. We call it own up. And the quicker you own up on a problem, we're so used to saying, no, not our fault, we're perfect. We got to get out of that perfection mindset and get into what the authentic mindset is. I am an imperfect human being. I own up, I screwed up, let's move on. Let's get it right. And that's what the millennials love today, is to see that authenticity. So hopefully that helps. It's not a great answer because you still have to live with the negative review, but definitely is the way to go. Yes, questions? Any other questions? Yes. So she's asking about where should we solicit reviews, asking our customers to give us a review on where, right? Gotcha. So that's an interesting question too. You gotta be real careful with that. So following the federal law, Google this April 2018, just came out with their review gating guidelines. So Google now says, if you point customers to Google who are just happy, meaning you're gating only your happy homeowners to Google, they will now ban you from Google. They will shut you down. Very interesting, very controversial. So we now have to be very, very careful as our company is in the business of helping the builders build reviews on all these sites. So the whole idea of cherry picking the reviews is no longer a viable practice unless you want to risk being banned from Google, which pretty much being banned from the internet, right? To not be on Google would be financially devastating, in my opinion. And that's not acceptable. So you got to be careful with what you're doing there. If you're going to do it, you want to make sure that Google and the world doesn't see it as review gating, meaning you're only going to your happy homeowner and saying, hey, could you go out to Google and give us a nice review? Because that's going to be a problem. However, you can still ask your customers for reviews, and I think the best way to do it is to do it through a service. Because when you do it through a service, and I don't mean to be self-promotional here, whether it's with us or somebody else, the one benefit you get is the fact that that review can stay private. All the reviews can stay private, and you can study them. When you push them to Google or Facebook, it's all or nothing right there, and you never get it back. If that customer goes off on you there, it's there for life. And so you really don't have what I call a staging area to see how you're doing first, and you're really taking a gamble. You're sort of chucking it over the wall, and you hope if I don't hear a thump, everything went well. And I think that's just a little bit, that's not the best strategy in my opinion. Better to stage it, put it in, and then you can launch it with true authenticity and also the legal backing of a third party. Now that you got other folks involved, like right now we have full-time legal, that all they do is now study this stuff and stay up on it and make sure all our clients are always in safe harbor because it's changing. And because we've got three things to watch for. The federal law, FTC, which is different, and now Google guidelines. It's just getting to be to a point where maintaining it costs money. So again, you don't have to work with us, work with others that are doing it the right way, but I really think you should start there. That's the smartest way to manage it. And our reviews are being taken onto page one and on other companies as well, much faster than you will get it on your own. So anyway, another question, long answer on that one, sorry. Any other questions? Oh, sorry, yep, go for it. Can you say that one more time? I got the second half, not the first. How do you do it? Yeah. How do you deal with the customer that thinks he's always right or she is always right? Yes. So, I think inoculation is the key. And I think there's another concept that you got to think about, and that is selling to the right customer. If you sell to the wrong customer, whose fault is that, right? When we sell a home to somebody who we know is going to be a serious pain in the old keister, whose fault is that? Sometimes when we're desperate and the market's tough, we have no choice. We got to just bite the bullet and work it. But in today's market, let's face it, we don't have to do that anymore. We are at a point now where, builders can avoid the more difficult ones. And you need to have your antennae up for customers who aren't a good fit. And that's where I like inoculation, because by getting very real with that buyer up front, we are not a custom builder. We're a production builder. We do it this way, or whatever that is that defines you. And you need to make sure that is out in front, right in the get-go. I like to call it the old soup Nazi technique, right? Hey, no soap for you, right? It's okay. It's okay to push back on a buyer, and the best time to do it is before they become a customer. Just like the soup Nazis say, hey, I don't want you. He had a line around the corner in New York City. He didn't have any problem with his customers because he was very upfront with them about how you do it. They dramatized it, overdid it. I don't recommend his style of service. That would be a mistake. But the magic in that is that he was very, very honest and forward with his customers. You follow his process or he wouldn't sell you soup. And that attracted more buyers. And that's the essence that I think I'm trying to transfer to you, is if you're seeing a lot of the wrong customer, then your sales process isn't right. And you need to flip that around, flip that script. Ooh, how do you fire a customer? You buy their house back. And I've been a part of a few of those over my years. Not a lot of them. I mean, seriously, you can count them probably on two hands, the deals we had to go in, and literally we were at war. The customer had websites, Facebook, the community, old picket signs. I mean, all that I've seen, all that, that's for real. 27 years now. And we bought houses back. In some scenarios, we just said, look, you want out, we'll pay you. And we'll pay a market value. Bang, just buy the damn house back. We'll, maybe do a little rehab on it, and boom, put it back on the market and get most or more of our money back, really. And I'm not opposed to that if you're at war, and if that's what the buyer really, really wants. The surprising thing is that most of them don't want that. They actually do like their house. They actually do like their location. If you try to buy it, they don't like that answer either. But it's a nice thing, because then it's kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. You're willing to just buy it back and kick me out of the neighborhood? Yeah. But the point is, you'll work it out. I like to work out those deals what we call a SWAT team format. You don't go in alone, bring in a team of folks to your own side, and you sit down with that buyer and you basically say, with an owner or manager or senior person, and say, this is it. We are negotiating now. Otherwise, we're going. This could get worse, and you're not going to be able to get what you're going to get here today. So let's get it all out. I want to know all your problems, and we're going to work through it. And I'm willing, and I'm power here today to make it happen. And never write a check. Never write a check with a customer from hell. You need to, because the moment you crack out the checkbook and cash is being thrown around, then you're done. Then it's blood in the water and the sharks are out. It's over. Always, always, always in kind. Repair. Never cash. Don't try to just make it easy and scratch a check, because that will spread, and you'll have a big problem there. And the buyer's never really satisfied with that. Like, for example, folks in the insurance business can tell you that. They write checks to people all the time for problems, and they have difficulty in satisfaction. Checks don't make people the happiest, right? But anyway, that's just some help. We can talk more offline. Each situation is unique. And the good news is, with the new federal law, leaving with this last point, with the new federal law, we are seeing builders are now petitioning to have reviews taken off, because if those reviews are falsified, we now have legal backing to go to the courts. Even an anonymous review, if we can prove that it was falsified and incorrect, we can now hash the grounds to have it removed. There's been a seminal case in Illinois where the courts ordered the ISP to reveal who the anonymous reviewer was so that they could determine the veracity of it. They did that, and then they actually took the review off. And it was a very important case that set precedent now across the country. And so we are now, it's not cheap to go there, by the way. We're talking, it must be a real serious situation if you need to go nuclear on that, but we never had that before. Now we do. They can't hide behind the veil of anonymity anymore. So this is kind of cut both ways, good and bad, I think, for everybody. But I think in the long run, it's a good thing. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, there's a lot of troubled customers out there, and it can be difficult. Awesome. Any other questions? Oh, one more. Yeah, go for it. I don't have anything specific to the remodeling industry, but I'm willing to dig. So let's exchange cards, and I'll pass it around to some of our data folks and see if we can dig something up for you on specifically the remodeling business. But most of the time they rely on the bigger picture stuff like Zillow and the rest, but let's reach out. All right, folks, thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate it. Have a good day. Thank you.